everyone, Rachel here, Treehouse Knits. It's been a while since we've chatted. I hope you're all doing well. I have had an amazing month. I think it's been a month since the last time I podcast. Lots of life happening in between, lots of fun, yarny fun. You'll recall I was headed to Rhinebeck, needles up, Indie Untangled. So I have a lot to share with you. I also have done a lot of knitting. I've done a lot of machine knitting, a lot of trying to machine knit. I've just got a lot to share with you today. So let's just get started, shall we? Rhinebeck. I won't go into great detail about Rhinebeck, but it was incredible. It was overwhelmingly fun. It was so amazing to meet so many people that I have been following on Instagram. I've been following their podcasts. I've been following their businesses. It was amazing to meet so many of you and laugh with you and have a great time with you. You know who you are if you're watching. And to those of you who just said hi to me at Rhinebeck and the other events, it was amazing meeting you guys. It's so wonderful to feel like I'm actually talking here with real people instead of just staring into a little dot in my phone. I hope you all enjoyed getting the pumpkin stitch markers. I know I loved making them for you guys. So thanks for stopping me, saying hello. And it was just a great time. Of course, I bought a little bit more than I planned to, but everything that I purchased definitely has a purpose in mind for. So I felt really good about what I got at Rhinebeck. So today, I think we'll just get right into the knitting and what I've been knitting. I think as I share with you knitted objects, I will explain to you where I got them, and it'll all work out in the end, right? So the first knitted object I wanted to share with you is from a hat kit that I actually got from Indie Untangled. I actually saw the Cannon Dyed hand booth at Stitches Midwest this past August, and I was staring at this hat kit that came with a pom-pom, and didn't pull the trigger then, but when I saw it at Rhinebeck, I remembered it, I loved it, so I just went for it. This is the Flux Hat. What I love about this hat is the dyeing, the dye job, the speckles. It came in a cake, and if I still have a picture of how it came, I'll put that here. To me, this is perfection in a speckled gradient, and the pom-pom is awesome as well. The pom-pom came with the kit. It's actually a snap. So it snaps right off. All you have to do is just sew that pom-pom right, that little tab right at the top, and then you can take the pom-pom off for washing. I guess I can try and put it on for you here. I love this hat. It fits so well. It was super easy and fun. Just a quick, fun hat to make from Rhinebeck, a souvenir, and I actually have a coat that's this dark purple, so it matches perfectly with it. The pattern itself, excuse the hair now, the pattern itself is a super easy pattern called the Flux Hat, and it's actually by a designer that worked with earth yarn. So the pattern you see there is done in the earth yarn, and that worked out really well. I think it's meant for a worsted, but this was actually a bulky weight hat, and I used the exact same numbers, and it works really well for my big head with big hair. So really pleased with that. It is a 1-row pattern. So while it looks maybe a little bit more complicated than your average stockinette hat, it really isn't, and it's a lot of fun, and it goes really fast. So that's my Flux Hat. Thank you, Cannon Hand Dyes. That booth is incredible. I have to say it's probably one of my favorite dyer booths of the whole weekend that I was at Rhinebeck. Again, they were at Indie Untangled. They do such an amazing job, not only dyeing their yarns, but kitting them up, putting them together. The booth is gorgeous. So if you ever have a chance to see Cannon Hand Dyes, check them out. They have a new follower in me, for sure. The next thing I want to share with you that I've been working on, knit-wise, is, I'm not sure if I shared it with you the last podcast, the lovely Natalie from Remembrances Pottery is also an amazing designer. Some people are just so multi-talented, and she asked me to test knit her latest sock. The sock is called, let me just pull it out here. Bridget's Garden. And when I saw it, I knew, oh gosh, yeah, I want to test that for you. And it originally called for a fingering weight. I had an amazing sock set. I think it might have actually been a mitten set, but it's a sock. I made it into a sock set of more of a sport weight, DK weight. I used the same numbers. I have bigger feet. I have a size 10 foot. So it worked out perfectly for me. So I have one sock that I finished. I'm going to do the other one next. While it looks complicated, it really flies off the needles. You don't have to really worry about a lot of floats because the color work is pretty even across. There's not a lot of big sections with lots of the same color stitch. And honestly, my favorite part is the bottom of the sock. I think it's so cool how she could have just cut off the flower and just done all stripes on the bottom, but I love how the flower kind of cuts in. So when you've got your feet up, it just looks cool. So thank you, Natalie, for asking me to test knit. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait to get the other one done. And she's actually given me an extra pattern that I can give away to someone out there, one of my followers here on the Treehouse Knits channel. If you would like to knit this sock, take a peek in the Ravelry podcast page. I will have a thread in there for the opportunity to win one of these amazing patterns from Natalie. So just go in there. I'll have a little question that you can answer to enter. Check that out and you may win a copy of that pattern. I have to say, I have this project in this adorable bag that I got from the beautiful Denise from Earth Tones Girl. We did a little fall birthday swap when we were rooming together for the Rhinebeck weekend, and she made me this awesome bag with the sheep, and it's got a really cool denim bottom. I'm loving the cinch sacks lately, and I've always wanted this ribbon with the measurements on it. So the inside is polka dot. I just couldn't be more thrilled to have this bag from Denise. So thank you, Denise. You know, I owe a lot to Denise for the weekend. She lives nearby, so she had a vehicle and she carted me all around. Not only was she my amazing roommate, but she carted me all around and we had a great time. I have not laughed so hard in so long, so thank you to Denise. She did a really nice 30-minute, pretty quick Rhinebeck recap that you should check out on her channel. In fact, I'll link it down below because it is a good recap for myself since I'm with her most of the time during her recap. I should save that to my own channel so that I can have it to watch when I'm old and remember the great time that I had that weekend. Thank you, Denise. Okay, so we've done the Flux Hat, we've done Bridget's Garden socks. Another thing that I've been working on, my parents have their 50th wedding anniversary coming up. We've already celebrated with the party, but the anniversary isn't for a few more weeks. So I am working on their mitten that I created for them. Now this is just the sample test knit with some yarn that I was just kind of playing around with. But I've decided for the finished project, or product, what I'm going to do is use a combination of these yarns. And this yarn down here at the bottom is a dark, dark green. So what I'm doing is I've got a cuff going here, and I've used the green, that dark green. It's not showing up well on the camera here, but it is a dark kind of pine green for the Latvian braids. I've used the blue for the waves, and then I'm gonna go ahead and use this dark green again. There you can kind of see it a little bit better for the rest of the mitten. That would be the Viking ship and this really cool cross motif and the date on the thumb, the date of their wedding year, and then the year where they celebrated their 50th anniversary. And then I plan to line the inside. I plan to line the inside of their mitten with this really cool light green mohair. I think it should turn out really well. I think these colors, while they might be a little unexpected, I think it's gonna come together in a really pretty way. So I will keep you posted on that. It's a really fast knit because it is with a DK weight. The main yarns that I'm using are from Rauma, and it's their Rauma 3. Let me see if I have is this Rauma 3 TR Stricken yarn. I got that from Heritage Spinning and Weaving in Lake Orion. That was a great source for me for Rauma yarn. Check them out if you want to order from them ever. It's Heritage Weaving and Spinning, or Spinning and Weaving in Lake Orion, Michigan. But I'm really excited to get those done, and it's kind of like a little family heirloom I'm making, I kind of think. Like, I look at these Norwegian folks who found mittens from 100, 200 years ago, and they're recreating them, and I just wonder if maybe some of my descendants will come across these mittens someday and be like, who made those, and why did they make them, and what were their names, and that kind of thing. So anyway, just my little way of trying to be part of history, I guess. Who knows, maybe they'll end up at the Goodwill and a kind knitter soul will rescue them. We shall see. But anyway, that is my knitting. Let me just check. Oh, this one behind me. This is my Getting Warmer. I decided to go into my stash. I found 3 skeins of a bulky weight green tonal color that was Dream & Color Squishy bulky weight, and it was in the Emerald Darkness colorway. That Getting Warmer pattern by Espace Tricot, it's a free pattern. It was super fun and easy. I've been kind of excited about doing the tubular cast on, and so I tried that again on this just to make a really nice edging. You know, that's one thing I didn't mention with the Flux Hat. The main change that I did is I used a tubular cast on, which is so easy. I'm going to put down below a video that I watched. Now, there's different ways I found on YouTube to do the tubular cast on for that really great, nice thick edge that makes the ribbing look like it just goes down to the end. I found that there's a few different types or different ways, and I'll put down below the way that I found I liked the best and thought it was the best YouTube tutorial out there. But anyways, yeah, it was honestly just a little bit of ribbing, and then it was all garter stitch and decreasing stitches. It's just a big kind of tube that kind of opens out at the end, and you can wear it as a large cowl and kind of squish it all together, or you can just pull it down and be really comfortable as a poncho. So that's my Getting Warmer, and I was thrilled to use Stash for that. So let's talk a little bit about machine knitting, shall we? My machine is right here by me. I don't know if you can see. Look at how messy my desk is. How embarrassing. But you know what? It's where I work on things, so it's gonna be a little messy. But there's my knitting machine and the carriage. I have been having a lot of fun playing with the machine. It brings me back to when I was learning how to knit, and all the failures that I had in the beginning, how things looked kind of not perfect. Things still don't look perfect. Anytime you learn a new skill, if you can just persevere through it, if you really want to learn it, you can. It's not that you weren't naturally born to be a knitter. To be a good knitter, you just have to keep trying and trying. And that has taught me so much about life in general. If you want to accomplish something, you got to do the work. It's the same with the knitting machine. To this point, I think that I've got down pretty well socks on my knitting machine. I'm lucky enough that I have a double bed machine with a circular setting, which means I can put stitches on the front and the back bed needles, and then as I slide the carriage back and forth on the needles, it knits in the round. So I'll just show you some socks that I've finished up. I'm not sure if I shared with you this kiwi pop that I knit up on the machine. This particular one, I knit one long tube with this yarn, and then I cut it in half. I actually cut it into 4 and made 2 pairs of socks. One pair I gave to a nurse that took care of my father-in-law in the hospital, and this is my pair here. And it came with this pink yarn with it, the Kiwi Pop Studio. I think I may have soaked them in too hot of water because I did have a little bit of bleeding, which really doesn't bother me all that much. But take care when you are blocking a darker colored sock with a lighter colored contrasting heel, toe, and cuff. So this was a big learning curve. I actually used the stitch count that the tutorial on YouTube talked about using, which I think it's people that have a lot smaller legs than my family. We had a little incident this weekend. We were out of town in Chicago. It wasn't an incident, but it was so funny. My husband and I were laughing hysterically. He pulled some socks out of the drawer that were some of my first machine knit socks that had a little fewer stitches around than I would normally hand stitch for him. So we're at the hotel, he's trying to get dressed, and it took him about 15 minutes to pull these socks up. They're like compression socks on him. So I'm curious, I haven't seen him since he put the socks on, so I'm very curious how those socks fared. He wore them to the Green Bay Packers Miami Dolphins football game, so we were laughing hysterically though. I was trying to help him pull the sock up, but you know what? The yarn and the knitting held up. Nothing broke. I cannot believe it. We were tugging so hard. That would make such a fun children's book now that I think about it. But kudos to that sock yarn. What was it? It is Zauberball. The Schoppel Volley Zauberball Crazy in blue purple. That stuff is tough, let me tell you. Anyway, so this was one of my first socks where I was knitting just in a long tube and cutting in. I decided that I really liked how the sock machine's ribbing looked. So now what I do is I knit two separate socks. I do the ribbing on the machine, which is done flat, and then I bring half the stitches over to the front bed and I continue on knitting the tube. Now I'm still cutting in my heels and toes. This is a beautiful pair. You would think I would have the tag here, but this is a Regia. I love it, love how it turned out. And I enjoy knitting out these tubes and then finishing just the toes and the heels. Let me show you a pair that's in progress here. This is how they come out of the machine, where you can see the ribbing is done flat. The ribbing is done flat, so I'll seam that up. And then what I do at the end is I actually unravel 24 rounds. And when I unravel 24 rounds, that gives me just enough yarn to knit a wedge toe and cut in a wedge heel. This is a really pretty finish sock yarn that I got from a swap. I believe it was with Hannah Kaita from down Sheepy Lane. So that one is just waiting for the heels in that. Let me see if I've got that. Nope, I don't. Okay, and then another pair that just got finished and blocked is for my husband. This is a pair of Lang sock yarn. And you can see how I've finished, again, the ribbing. I've cut in the heel. I'm not happy with where I started out. That's not a mistake. That's just the yarn that I started out with on that heel. But it'll be fine. And then there is the toes that I put in. So that's another pair of socks. I have quite a bit in the pipeline. This has been so wonderful to get my socks done. And I feel like then I can maybe get some newer sock yarn. I've just had so many socks. This back here, this is a bucket full of sock yarn ready to go through my machine. I'm going to be doing a biscotte yarns, maybe that's how you say it. I've got this really cool self-striping. Self-striping is a lot of fun on the machine. And then I also have this really pretty, oh, I can't wait to see what this looks like, Twizzlefoot. I think that's what it's called. And once I get these all done, I'll share with you. So there's a ton of yarn in here. So I was doing so well with my socks that I started to get a little cocky and thought, you know, why don't I just see if I can make a bigger tube with scrap yarn, scrap sock yarn, and knit a really long, wider tube, and then connect the ends, Kitchener the ends together, and then I'd have a cool cowl. So that's what I did. You might recognize some of these yarns. What's really fun is I'm wearing some of these yarns in my sweater that I'm wearing today, which is the Sunset Highway Caitlin Hunter. This color here is the color I used right in here. This is that was by Destination Yarns called Color Run. And this yarn was just some scraps I had. The gray, let's see, one of these grays, I think. Maybe I'm not wrong, but anyways, I love how it turned out. And so I think next time I'll make it just a little bit longer so it's a little more slouchy, but it's just a double cowl that I can wear inside my coat. And yeah, I think it turned out really great, and it used a ton of scraps, which is awesome. And it's just nice and warm. A little wild with this outfit, but I guess it goes since it's the same colorway. So I was really, really excited about that. There was only one spot where I had some issues, some stitches came off. That's where, you know, when you're first learning how to knit, when stitches fall off your needle, you kind of freak out until you learn how to put it all back together. Same way with the machine. I had some stitches that just dropped. Let me see if I can find them and show you. And I'm not gonna fret about it. I just fixed it as best I could at this point. Yeah, it's right in there. It's a little lumpy bumpy, but the stitches aren't going anywhere. So, you know, I'm just gonna keep persevering and hopefully we'll get better and better. So after this one, I got a little more cocky and thought, what if I made a big tube that would fit around my body, and then I could use my fingering weight yarn to machine knit the body of a sweater, and then I could pick up the I could pick up the band, or I could pick up around the top of the body and start doing the color work yoke. Well, I didn't have a lot of fingering weight yarn in my stash that was enough for a sweater at this point, but I did have some from an old kit that I got a few years ago that I knew I wasn't going to knit the project that came with the kit, and the yarn is beautiful. So I put it on my machine. The yarn is a Swedish yarn, and it came from a Hannah Falkenberger kit. It was not cheap, but I worked at the yarn shop at the time, so I did get a little bit of a discount. It's a gorgeous yarn. It's just the depth, the tones are beautiful blues and greens. So I started out on my machine with some waste yarn, and I have a spool here of, it's just a light fingering weight acrylic peachy pink yarn. So I cast it on my machine with that, and I started out knitting my tube. And then once I was comfortable, I added my actual project yarn. And I got this far with my tube. It rolls up big time, but I got maybe 6 or 7 inches. And all of a sudden I started to pull the carriage, and the yarn broke. And when the yarn breaks and you continue on with the carriage, all the stitches fell off. So about 1/3 of my stitches fell off. And I tried to save it. I spent a good hour trying to save the stitches, put them back on the needles, but it was just too challenging. So I took it off. I put this in timeout with the other skeins of yarn for the project, and decided that for machine knitting, you probably should not use a woolen spun 2-ply fingering weight yarn. Probably better to use a worsted spun, really hard to break. I mean, I think like a Brooklyn tweed would not be a good idea on the machine, for me at least, at this point. So, and I did learn that when I am caking up for my machine, I need to make the cake first of the yarn and then make another cake so it's a nice loose cake and the yarn pulls off easily. So I think what I'll do is this is just going to go in timeout, and I will try again when I get a more a stronger fingering weight yarn, and try again to knit that too. This was just another sock yarn where I was practicing making a big tube which I'll probably pull out and make into something else at this point, but learned a lot. I also decided to use just a little bit heavier weight in my machine to see if I could make a hat on the machine by making decreases for the top of the hat. This is how the baby hat turned out. This is a really cute yarn from Plymouth, I think. It's the Dream Baby DK paint pot. I saw it knit up in the store and I really thought it was cute. How it comes off on the machine is first you do the ribbing and then you knit a certain amount and then you start doing decreases on the machine with different tools where you're bringing up the stitches and putting them onto the stitches next to them, just like you would knit two together or SSK for your hat. And so when it comes off the machine, it comes off where you need to seam down the side, which I will do. But I'm learning my decreases on the machine and trying to figure out how to do a good job on those. So that was a learning as well too. The other problem that I encountered was I lost my double eye transfer tool. It's somewhere on the floor here. It's just a skinny needle. I mean, it's substantial. It's not like losing a little tiny needle, but it is a tool that you need when you're working on a machine. So I've placed an order for a new one and I'm waiting for it to come, and I'm sure I will find my old needle when the new one comes. I'm sure that will happen. So that is kind of what I've been working on knitting wise. I did receive in the mail a package from, I did the Christmas bag swap. Probably saw it on Instagram if you are on Instagram and follow Molly Klein Designs or Candy Shop Yarns. So I sent off, I was matched with Pietra from Germany, and she's a bag maker and a knitter there as well. And I sent her off some goodies from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I got in the mail this adorable Christmas bag. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's made with a tougher fabric, so it's definitely a heavy quilter fabric. I don't know, it's great. It's got stars, so it's not overly Christmassy. I think I can use this all winter. It looks more like flannel. And I love how she adds these two little straps. I just might have to steal that idea next time I make another bag for myself, because it's really nice when you cinch it and then you've got these handles to hold on to instead of holding on the long handles from the cinch, if that makes sense. So I love that. Everything came bagged up in fabric, so I have got some new fabrics for myself. Look at what she made me too. This really cute quilted little notions pouch that I will be certainly using. And then this really interesting shape too, which might be nice for a lot of my tools for my knitting machine actually, because it's really long and it's got the zipper, so when you have it out, it really displays everything. So I think that this would have helped me not lose that double eyelet tool, Petra. I should have had that sooner. And then this really pretty quilted star came with it. I love that. In fact, I should probably put that on my bulletin board for Christmas. Or maybe I'll tack it on to a project bag. I'll make myself one. But the quilting is so cool, and it matches my current bag that she sent me. Also got some German chocolates, some Stollen, which I'm excited to try the Stollen there. So thank you, Petra, if you're watching this. That was so much fun to do the swap. I also received in the mail from Knitter's Pride. I shared a little bit about this, these two items on Instagram, but these are really good ideas for Christmas gifts for your knitter friends and family. This is a necklace. Look how pretty that wood is. This is a magnetized necklace, and it's a whole kit that comes with the necklace, which is wood, but there's a big magnet behind there, 20 stitch markers, a fabric pouch, and then you've got 3 different types of hooks or latches, or I don't know what you would call them, for cables that magnetize right on. So that's really cool. If you want a little bit more detailed explanation, check out my Instagram story history that I saved. And then the big thing that I got from Knitter's Pride, thank you so much for sharing this with me, is this new ginger set of interchangeable needles. They asked me which size I wanted, and I said I'd really like the hat size, and I used these to knit my Flux Hat. I also used the bigger size to knit the Getting Warmer, but it's this beautiful set. It's called Ginger, and I normally knit with metal, so you know, I usually don't knit with wood, but this is a nice shiny wood, great tip on the end. The Flux Hat had a knit two together throughout the whole hat, so that really was nice. My Addy Turbos don't have as, my Addy interchangeable set, I don't know if that's turbo, I think it is, doesn't have as sharp of a point, and I would have had some troubles, I think, knitting all those knit two togethers. But this particular kit goes from a size, yeah, a US size 3 to a 17. That's a big range. Normally they're, I want to say 4 to 11 are my other sets. And it also comes with the 16-inch cables and the 20-inch cables. It's this cool brown color. It's a twist-on, so there's 4 sets of these little ends if you want to use them as stoppers. As well as 4 of these keys, which you need to use when you put the needles on and off. If you're able to unscrew the needle with your bare hands, it's too loose, and it probably will come undone as you're knitting. That's why you need to use those cables. But the really cool thing, I love when things serve different multi-functions, is that this turns into a really cool stand for when you're doing color work or you want to put your pattern up next to you. This is on a magnet, and this slides up and down. We'll get those magnets on correctly here. And normally I'm not a big fan of the sliding magnets, but because there's 2 sets of magnets, they slide up and down really easily when the pattern is in between this magnet and the magnet band, if that makes sense. I think because there's only 3 points where it's magnetized versus the whole thing magnetized, but yep, you just connect it with the leather there and off you go. So this is a really nice kit. This would be a great gift for someone that you love for Christmas. It feels like leather. I know it's a vegan leather, but it's got a great hand. Very, very cool kit. So check that out. I also got my Knit Crate membership for last month for both the sock and the regular membership. This was the sock. This Vita Lana, it's a very light blue tonal with cream in it. Gorgeous. Colorway is called Morning, and this is an 80/20, 402 yards. So this is the weight that I like best for socks. I like 75/25, but I really like 80/20. It's just a little bit fuller, a little bit thicker, and this should work really well on my knitting machine. It came with, again, a booklet this month with all the patterns. When I got my other Knit Crate set, which is the regular Knit Crate, I got another of the same book because it shares with you all the patterns for all the Knit Crates. So I have an extra. So I think what I'll do is, if anybody's interested in this extra Knit Crate book, I think I'll throw it as a giveaway on my Ravelry podcast page. There are several patterns and just lots of information about the designers. It's a really, really neat little magazine. So I'll plop that in there as well. If you're interested in winning that, let me know and I'll send that off your way. The regular Knit Crate came with 2 skeins of this gorgeous tonal by Audine Wools called Audine Wools Halo, and it's a DK, which I'm really excited about. It's 50% alpaca, 30% merino, 20% nylon, 236 yards. So I have a good 560 plus yards of this DK weight. I'm excited to knit something with it. I think it's a beautiful color. The other colors were gorgeous as well. I was really excited to get this blush color. Check out Knit Crate. I'll have a link down below if you want to get a discount on your first order. It's just great value yarn, and you get a lot of items with it in terms of patterns and pattern support. On Ravelry, there's a thread on there for Knit Crate where if you didn't care for the color you got, you can switch with someone else. So it's just a really neat program, a really neat organization. So I wanted to throw that out to you as well. I have not done any stitching this past month. It has been all about the knitting. When you go to Rhinebeck, you come back ready to knit. So I am signed up for Knit Stars. Are you guys signed up for Knit Stars? I'm excited for that to happen. If you don't know what Knit Stars is, I'll put a link down below. But it's basically like a virtual virtual knitting conference. A lot of us can't make these conferences all over the world where you get to meet and learn from designers that you just admire so much. And this is the theme for this year is Norwegian. It's like North Light, something. I'll put it down below, but I'm really excited for it to start. It starts after Thanksgiving, and the people that they've got on board for it sound really excellent. They're all people you'll know, so check that out. There's a couple of podcasts that I've been excited about that have just started. One is my friend Lynn in Norway. She's an American living in Norway for a very long time. She married a Norwegian. They live on a farm where she has 3 sheep. She goes by 3 Old Daughter on Instagram. I'll put that info down below. And I've been telling her she should do a podcast because she has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Norwegian sheep, Norwegian culture, and just all of the fiber arts that we love to do. She does it all. She's got the loom. She's sewing a bunad for her husband and herself. And I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Maybe she wears the bunad and I don't know. But anyway, she is someone to definitely follow, and she has her first podcast out. Check her out on YouTube. It's the Old Daughter Podcast. I'll put the information right over here and down below. Her name is Lynn, and I know she would love to get linked in with even more of us here on Instagram and YouTube. The other person that I'm thrilled started a podcast is my friend Carrie here in the state of Michigan. She has you probably know her as My Wool Mitten on Instagram. She is a shepherdess living in the middle of Michigan. She has a lot of Corriedale sheep. Her yarn is gorgeous. I've shared it with you on the podcast in the past. She's done an online blog for many, many years. That's just a beautiful blog to follow. She's started a YouTube channel with short bits of her on her farm and some of the challenges she faces. And it's just a beautifully done podcast. And I'm excited to see more from her as well. So I'll put her information down below. I wanted to share with you, I love seeing what people purchase at fiber events. So if you're not one of those people who likes to see a little bit of a haul, I will see you on the next episode. Thank you for watching. For those of you who like to see a haul, thanks for sticking around. I don't know if you remember last episode when I said I got this big bag in the mail from the Knitting Garage. I said how huge it was, and if I fill it at Rhinebeck, I'll be in trouble. Well, I filled it at Rhinebeck with stuff. So let me just share with you a few things that I purchased. So the first show was Needles Up. And I got myself a fat squirrel bag. I love it. As people say, she uses a definite canvas weight. It's just a really well-made bag. Look she's got her zippers covered, amazing zipper pull, even a brown zipper. I mean, it's just so well made, and I love this pattern. And when I purchased the pattern, when I picked out this pattern, it was so hard to pick out a pattern. I thought this looked like a pattern I could use all year. For some reason, it read all of the seasons to me. So I was excited to have it, but when I saw that Chelsea from Legacy Fiber Arts also got the same bag, that elevated my feeling that I got a cool bag. So if somebody as cool as Chelsea liked this bag, I feel good about the purchase myself. The other cool thing, I got to meet Paige the Framer. Oh, was that fun to meet her as well. And I picked up, that's Paige right there, and these are some of her good friends. Some of them, I believe, were all at Rhinebeck as well. That is Daisy Lane Designs right there. I hope I'm getting that correct. But anyway, I got this awesome mat. You've seen them around. They're made with, Mrs. Brown bags, extra snips of fabric that she doesn't use for her bags. Paige gets and makes them into these awesome frames. So I got myself one of those. And how much you want to bet these 4 lovely ladies will be in this frame for a good 6 months before I figure out what to put in there. This is the program that you got when you entered Rhinebeck, so I have yet to read through it. That'll be interesting. And these are all random bits. Oh my gosh, look at what Denise brought me. This is Caterpillar Green Yarns, which is now Gauge Dye Works. So I have a vintage awesome skein. Look at those colors. I was so excited to get this skein from Denise because I have wanted Gauge Dye Works for so long because of her amazing mathematical abilities in creating these awesome, not only does she pick great colors to pair together, but she is a mathematical whiz when it comes to how many rows per section. I don't know. I'm gonna have fun with this and I will share that with you when I work on that. Okay, what else do I have? Oh my gosh, I'm jumping all around, but at the podcaster meetup on the hill, I got to meet Patricia, P410 Knitography. Oh, what a beautiful person she is. She handed me some of her fiber from her sheep, her beloved sheep. These are the Trundersau, Gras Trundersau sheep. And I will be for sure playing with this fiber and spinning it up, but all the way from Norway. Look at how gorgeous those grays are. I couldn't thank her enough for that. It was so great getting a hug from Patricia and getting to know her a little bit better. Oh, at Needles Up, I also picked up my very first bars of Tuft Woolens. Oh my gosh, this bag smells amazing, but I fell in love with this plum amber scent. Oh, it smells really, really, really good. This is a bag full of fun in here, I tell you. Got a Legacy Fiber Arts pin, a Frame and Fiber pin, Frame and Fiber sticker. Thanks, Paige. Oh, this I got at Indie Untangled. For my spinning, I wanted to have a gauge that would help me identify what weight I was spinning. At Indie Untangled, they kind of fell. The glue kind of came off, but I got these adorable Bumblebee buttons, and they had a sample on a little child sweater using these buttons with, I think it was some black and yellow floss. And, oh gosh, they were so cute on that sweater, so I got those. And I also loved these, you know, they're washable bamboo buttons too. I saw these with some really cool flosses in them, these snowflakes, and I know I will use those on a sweater too at some point. So that was really fun being near Katrinkles and being able to purchase some of that. I got 2 mugs as well, which are both downstairs because I'm using them. The first was the Yarn Snob mug. I'll put a picture here. By Deneen Pottery, and Shelly Can sold that. And the other mug was from Needles Up from Doghouse Pottery. I absolutely love the mug. I'll put a picture here. It's got an incredible handle to it and I love the colors. I met the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Kate from Hawthorne Cottage Craft. Look at, I got a stitch marker and a button from her. Oh, Kate, it was so fun meeting you, getting to know you better, and bumping into you everywhere, basically. And just some other fun things. A Lolo Ginger Amber. I think this was actually from Denise and my little package from her. Well, I shouldn't say little. It was a big package from Denise. So, oh, you know what else I thought I would try is this vetiver and cedar wood from Tuft Woolens. It's a lotion, and hopefully I won't use it as a deodorant. But it's in a lotion. It's a lotion in a deodorant tube, which is kind of nice because if your skin is dry and let's say you're in the process of spinning, but your hands are dry, you can just put it on the dry spots and not on your fingers because that messes up your spinning. At least in my humble opinion, it does. All right. So that's my little, oh, I met the Must Love Yarn ladies. That was fun to meet them as well. I got a Must Love Yarn pin. So my little goodie bag. Ooh, I saw this Jacob Fluff Roving from Marshmallow Farm. This is all Jacob. And what I plan to do is separate the colors out and do some sort of color work with my spun yarn. I've always wanted to try Jacob. And I just think it's so cool that you can get like a pair of colorwork mittens or a cowl or even a headband from the same sheep. I think that is just really, really cool. So that is my fiber. I also got some fiber. Into the World was at Needles Up. Look at that cool colorway. It's almost like camouflage. So this is a it's called Mud Bogs and Moonshine, and it's Targhee, which I've never spun. And then I got a little bit of a brighter colorway. It's Falkland wool called Fitch. I thought that would be a lot of fun to spin up. They also had, those by the way, that was Into the World. The Classy Squid Fiber Company had this really cool package of just all the rainbow colors, and I thought that would be really fun to play with and see what kind of yarn I can make with it. It's called Tonality, so each one of these colors has different tones of the color in it, which I think, oh, that'll be so pretty and so fun to use. At Needles Up, Fiber Nymph Dye Works was also there. Check this out. This is a Christmas colorway. Oh, I love, love, love it. It's called Winter Garden, and it's a self-striping sock. I was so impressed with her self-striping yarn, and she really sells it at a nice price. A lot of work goes into self-striping, so I want to say I spent $28, which sounds like a lot for a pair of socks, but self-striping sock yarn by indie dyers, it can be a lot more expensive than that. So this was on a tweed base, and it just, I can't wait to use this. I might do this on the machine. Of course, I couldn't leave Needles Up without purchasing some Legacy Fiber Arts. Ever since this colorway came out, I've wanted it. This is in their Cozy Toes base, which has a little bit of cashmere in it. Merino cashmere nylon. This is their plaid flannel colorway. And I think I plan on, I'm looking backwards because I want to see, oh, I don't see the, I plan on combining this with a kit of mohair that I got from Cannon Hand Dyes at Stitches Midwest. That's in blues and greens, and make some sort of really cool cowl with it. I just think it would be a lot of fun to do that. So beautiful, beautiful. The other Fiber Nymph Dye Works skein that I got from Fiber Nymph Dye Works is called Mountain House Winter, and this is in the Traveler base. That's gonna stripe up so beautifully. So another really nice holiday color. Indie Untangled, finally met Hugh Loco. That was a lot of fun to see all of her yarn in person. And I ended up picking up the Barnyard collection. This is in her Phyllis sock. And this is the Blue Maran hen. It's supposed to look like chickens. But I really love that it comes with two contrasting color skeins. Just a beautiful, it's kind of masculine. I think it might be nice for my husband. Anyways, that was from Hugh Loco. I was in a booth with Paige, the framer, Title Yarns. Paige actually wanted to get to Title Yarns, and I had not heard of them. Patricia Fortinsky is the dyer. This is a mini skein naturally dyed kit. Let me see if the type of yarn, we did know it at the time. I'll have to look into this. But this came with a pattern. And where, pray tell, is the pattern? I just thought that hat was cute. I love that this is naturally dyed, locally sourced wool. I'm gonna find out the breed. I wonder if Paige remembers, but Paige and I we're twinsies with this particular kit. I love it. Love the colors. Okay, I talked about Cannon Hand Dyes earlier. I just had to get this kit. I thought this was so unique. All of these colors, there will be something that I know this will be gorgeous with. But this is 20 to 22 yards each of 24 different colors. Sorry for the glare, I don't want to take it out obviously, but all the rainbow, different shades, different gradients. This will be amazing in some sort of cowl or shawl. Something will come up and I will be so happy that I purchased this, all these colors. And it's in their Bruce Yak Merino. So it's 70% merino, 20% yak. And that yak gives it such a beautiful sheen and softness. This will be fabulous. And while we're on the mini kick, at Hue Loco, she had a basket of the Color Riot minis. This will probably go into my blanket, but again, just gorgeous. All those different colors. I ran into Plucky Knitter Ladies and they handed me this very substantial skein of their new Cormo in, I guess it's the colorway Zest. I was in the orange mood being at Rhinebeck for sure, but man, does that feel nice. I cannot wait to test that out. So I think now I'm coming to the very end. I got myself a sweaters quantity of Green Mountain Spinneries Music DK weight, 100% fine wool, and I got it in Diamonds and Rust. There we go. And then the contrasting color I got is Chamomile. And I think this is going to be my Humulus sweater. This will be the base of the sweater and this will be the hops, or the Humulus of the sweater. Ooh, I think that will be so pretty. Can you see all the different colors in that yarn? Gorgeous, gorgeous. So that is my haul from all of those amazing events. I hope you enjoyed that. And I feel so lucky to have gone, that's for sure. Absolutely for sure. So I think we've come to the end of this episode. Thanks for joining me. You can find me on all the socials and Ravelry as Treehouse Knits, and everything that I've talked about here today project-wise is on my Ravelry project page, so check that out. If you're interested in winning the Bridget's Garden pattern or a copy of the Knit Crate Inspirations magazine, go to my Ravelry page and sign up there to win. Also, don't forget, the Year of the Mitten 2018 knit along is still happening. I will have my final draw at the end of December. I've drawn 3 times this year and people continue to put in beautiful mittens, colorwork mittens, and check out for that thread, look for that thread I should say, in my Ravelry podcast page as well. It has been so wonderful catching up with you all. I hope that you have a week filled with creative activities that you love, and we'll see you on the next episode of Treehouse Knits. Bye.